Did you know that in October, there are still things that you can sow and plant, particularly vegetables and also a couple of flowers. So this video is going to show you 9 hardy crops that you can sow and plant this month. Now I'm going to start off with 2 things that you can plant outside. So you don't need to worry about protection because they're really nice and hardy. And that is garlic and elephant garlic. Now, funnily enough, elephant garlic is more closely associated or related to a leek. But these are ones that we grew this year. That is the size of the clove. It's insane, and it is so hardy. So garlic, as well as elephant garlic, are things that you can plant this month and November. And what I usually say to people, plant it before Christmas. And it means that they get underway, they'll kind of appear in early January and they'll keep on growing. And then next June, you can have a beautiful harvest of elephant garlic and normal garlic. Oh, it smells wonderful. Now I am holding a deep-rooted module tray, which means I'm going to be sowing something deep-rooted. Now, there are 2 options here. This is a bit of a hybrid. You can either start these off, as in what these are, you can start these off either in modules to then plant out, or you can plant them directly in the ground if you're kind of zone 8. And that is broad beans, specifically the variety Aquadulture Claudia, because this is nice and hardy, but also field beans. Now, a top tip, if you want to save a bit of money, these are sold as a green manure, but they grow really well. They're basically like mini broad beans, but I think just as productive per square metre. You just need to spend a little bit more time podding because these are smaller. Now, you can either plant these directly in the ground 5 centimetres deep, or you can get a module tray and you can get these to just germinate to begin with in somewhere like a cold frame or a polytunnel, and then once they germinate, just keep them in a sheltered position outside, and then you can transplant them when they're around 2 to 3 inches tall out and just leave them throughout winter. And that means that you're going to get a nice early harvest of broad beans during the hungry gap next year, which is a key time that you want to be growing food. And you can also eat the leaves and the young pods and also the flowers of both broad beans and field beans. Now October is kind of, it's the very end of all of the summer crops. Well, but the honeycomb tomato still tastes amazing. And I'm going to miss these fresh flavours. I'm going to have to wait until next year to enjoy these kind of things. But I've got some good news, because there is a hardy pea variety that you can start off in modules in October in a cool protected place, and then you can put them on into 7 or 9 centimetre pots to then plant out either in your polytunnel in February or outside in March to get an early pea harvest. So you've got that beautiful taste of summer as soon as possible in the new growing season. So whilst it is a sad time, you can already start thinking about next summer by starting off these peas like Meteor. And just like a little tip, if you are in the UK, you can get 10% off any seeds that you order with King Seeds using the code HUR10. So hopefully that just helps a little bit with getting all of your seeds ready for next year and also for sowing this month. Now I couldn't help it, but I had to get sweet peas into this mix for what to sow in October. I did it last year and it worked so well. And these are the sweet peas that I'm actually saving seed from. So I've got an old Quality Streets tin just full of sweet pea seeds that are all going to be sown in October. And they can either be done in modules, just the exact same way that I did with peas. And then what I'd recommend is do that. And then when they kind of come through and they're 5 centimetres, 2 inches tall, you can then transplant them on into 7 centimetre pots and then harden those off. Just grow them on, harden those off in kind of April time outside and plant them. So whilst you can't unfortunately eat sweet peas, they are one of the pure delights of summer. So you've got peas that you can eat earlier on next year, and then you've also got peas that you can enjoy their beauty and bring into the kitchen table. Now there's also an edible flower that you can sow in the month of October, and there's a couple of bees actually enjoying these. This here is calendula. Calendula, you can eat the flowers. The leaves are also edible as well, and the young shoots. Now this is something that will just self-seed anyway, and it is setting these seeds. But if you want really early calendulas next year, particularly if you're wanting to grow some in the polytunnel, so you've got that early flowers for the pollinators to enjoy before it's kind of properly warm outside. You can do that. So with calendula, you can either use your own saved seeds from your plants, or you can get seeds and you can just plant these, maybe 2 seeds per module sale, and then when they appear you can then pot these on into 7 or 9 centimetre pots and then plant them out under cover in February in your polytunnels, or outside from around mid to late March onwards, as long as they've been hardened off. Now I kind of understated how many crops I'm going to show you that you can sow in October. It's more than 9 when you consider all of the different leafy greens. So right in front of me here I've got mustard, and it's such a beautiful, powerful thing. But the issue is you can't sow mustard outside. Well, you could, but then probably when a frost comes along it's going to knock it out. So what I would say is grow them inside. Grow your own salad crops over winter, and I've got some examples here in front of me. But before I show you what you can sow in October, here's a little extract from a video that I did with Penny Edica that showed a sowing technique that she used to generate or to raise seedlings. However, you can use this to sow these seeds in mushroom crates and just keep them undercover in a cold frame or polytunnel or mini hoop house or anything like that, and you can grow, or even on your windowsill, and you can grow these winter salads and enjoy them throughout winter and into early spring. Now if you do have a polytunnel with beds, say that you're growing tomatoes or something, then you can direct sow these as well in the ground. That was just more of an idea if you don't have much growing space, or you might have a mini greenhouse with a cover, that you can grow winter salads. Now a quick tip to begin with is you can buy mustard as a green manure and grow this as a salad crop. There are so many seeds in here. This is enough coverage for 25 square meters, so that's a lot of seed, that's a lot of mustard, so yeah, well worth it. Then you've got other things, like of course you could direct sow winter lettuce and winter spinach. Something nice to do would be getting something like a mixed spicy leaf salad mix. That will work really nicely. Mixed oriental leaves, that works nicely. And then 2 others that I really enjoy. One is corn salad, also known as lamb's lettuce. That's a really nice one to grow inside. Now, I'm leaving my favourite till last because this works so well in a polytunnel, but also you could brave sowing it and transplanting it outside, because this is Claytonia or purslane. And the amazing thing about Claytonia was that this somehow self-seeded itself around all of my leeks last year, and they acted almost as a cover crop or green manure, growing around the leeks all through winter, providing a steady supply of leaves. So it self-sows well, and it is really tasty, and it's really, really easy to grow. And so hopefully you can see from this mix that there's still plenty that you can be growing over winter. October is also a great month to think about composting. Often it's kind of the last cut of many lawns, and you start getting all of the autumnal leaves falling down. So this video about the 5 most common composting myths hopefully demystifies composting, because compost is what makes all of this possible, and winter is a great time to really bulk up your compost production.